Well, hello and welcome to my fireside chat on the associated clinical signs. We're up to ACS 4, parental replacement. And similar to ACS 3 that I just spoke about in the previous section, um, I view 3 and 4 as highly diagnostic of the pathology when they're present, because there's nothing else that causes these symptoms other than narcissistic borderline parent delusional disorder, factitious disorder kind of thing. So what is parental replacement? I'm sure many of you have faced this situation. Um, in the research literature, Greenham Childress Pruder, available on ResearchGate. You can go over and read more about the study. We looked at 46 families in court involved custody conflict. All 46 families had the three diagnostic indicators um, of pathogenic parenting that I describe in Foundations. All 46 families had five or more of the ACS, and all but one had eight or more of the ACS. So they are very prevalent in these families. ACS4 parental replacement was 54% of the families had this symptom feature. And given that this symptom feature is, we see it never in other pathology, we never see parental replacement in ADHD or autism or anything else. If we're seeing it in 54% of the families in the family courts, there's only one thing that's causing it. So the child rejects ownership of a parent, or a parent is replaced by a step parent. So there's two different variants of this. The one is the ownership, rejecting ownership. That's where they start to call the targeted parent by their first name, John or Mary. And then the parental replacement is when they start to call a step parent of the pathological parent as mom or dad, sort of replacing their own mom or dad with a new step parent. So, and the red star up there indicates that, in my clinical opinion, if this symptom is present, it's diagnostic. Now, I would still go on diagnose everything else and look for it everywhere else. But if you're seeing this symptom, that's a huge red flag. So rejecting people as expendable is a narcissistic personality trait from their superficial and avoidant attachment bonding. So this is classic characteristic symptom of a narcissistic borderline or narcissistic personality, is that people are expendable and there's just superficial. The moment you stop meeting my needs, whoop, you're gone. And the attachment system of the child, the actual attachment bonding system, is a predator driven primary motivational system of the brain. And as such, it strongly motivates the child to bond to a specific person. Because if the child runs to any old parent or any old adult in the social group, that adult might not protect the child. So when the predator comes in, that child has to run to a specific person. And so the attachment system is very specific oriented. There's a mom, there's a dad, and then there's a cloud of other people. But yeah, and so this idea that you can replace or de-own a parent is just not consistent with how the brain works. Um, and so rejecting ownership of a parent, calling a parent by their first name or parental replacement, calling someone else mom or dad, reflects the allied parent's narcissistic personality pathology, which engages in attachment relationships in a shallow manner and views relationships as replaceable. So the this symptom feature, as with other symptom features, what we are acquiring is the pathology of the pathological parent that's being imprinted onto the child by their psychological control and manipulation of the child. One of the things I say about pathological or pathogenic parenting is that a parent cannot manipulate and psychologically control a child without leaving fingerprints of their psychological control on the child's symptoms. And so, what a lot of these ACS are, such as parental replacement, are the fingerprints of that psychological control by a pathological parent. The most impressive fingerprints are the diagnostic indicator two. Those five narcissistic personality traits, those are directly the fingerprints of psychological control, because kids don't have a personality disorder. And so, but it's the parent who does. It's the parent who is judging the other parent. It's the parent who has a sense of entitlement that they deserve the child. It's the, allied parent who has the absence of empathy for the targeted parent and the cruelty relative to them, the splitting of them being all good parent and the targeted. It's the parent who has that pathology, and they're psychologically controlling the child, so it's getting imprinted on the child. Once you recognize that, then boy, you can get a clear insight into the pathology of the parent by looking at what the child is doing, what the child's symptoms are. They're giving you a direct input into the pathology of the parent. But everybody thinks it's the child. It's kind of like a ventriloquist thing, where they got the ventriloquist and he's got his little puppet that he makes talk, and he calls people up to the stage, and people start to talk to the puppet as if the puppet was real. No, the ventriloquist is putting words in, but people just talk to the puppet. So, no, it's manipulative psychological control, and so that parent wants either them to go away. Typically, it's with what's called sealing out. Is that we've gotten a divorce, and now this ex-spouse is annoying. They're just the hangers on, and I want to get married again and have a new family with my new spouse, and so you're just inconvenient, so we'll just replace you with a step parent kind of thing. So that's often the sort of the context where this symptom shows up. And the reason why it's such a bizarre one and why it's indicative of the pathology is that this never happens with an authentic child attachment system. This symptom, as I said, this symptom when present is 100% definitive. I say almost because I know there's no research on it, but clinically, I'd say it's 100% definitive of negative parental influence by the allied parent on the child's attachment bonding motivations with the other parent. The attachment system is highly motivated to bond to a specific person for protection from predators. So when this symptom is present, it's prominent, and then you get 7 or 8 other ACS involved in this. You're looking at the pathology. So you can diagnose the delusional disorder. You can diagnose the cross-generational coalition. You can diagnose the factitious disorder, or you can diagnose the 12 ACS that are all part. And no matter which way you look at it, you're going to be seeing exactly the same thing and exactly the same pathology. That's how we make the diagnosis. That's what it is. Because every way we look at it, we're seeing exactly the same thing. And all of it is predicted. If this is a pathology, I predict we're going to see X, Y, Z. We see X, we see Y, we see Z. Then that's the pathology that we're looking at. So with that, let's move over to ACS 5.